Hey everyone, it's Joe Beethoven, and I'm back for another masterful review that will finally make you understand the power of love and how it can change your life. Or rather, that's what Mona Sachs did for Max Payne, but we'll get into that later. Max Payne 2: The Fall of Max Payne is Remedy's second and last game in the Max Payne franchise, though Rockstar would take up the torch for Max Payne 3 much later. I might be getting ahead of myself by saying this, but I just can't wait. Max Payne 2 is incredible. It's a gripping story about overcoming the darkness within ourselves and letting go of the past. And it is one of the most beautiful, tragic romances I have ever experienced in a video game. Max Payne 2 is easily one of the greatest sequels I have ever played, but doesn't manage to surpass its predecessor. Well, that's what we're here to find out. Grab your seemingly infinite number of guns and your awesome femme fatale partner, and let's slow-mo dive back into the noir mystery thriller world of our favorite anti-hero, Max Payne. The story of the original Max Payne was a classic noir revenge story with a few shocking twists thrown in to keep you on your toes. Max Payne 2 goes in a very different direction. This time around, Max is starring in his own noir detective mystery. Instead of being a renegade the entire time, Max actually gets to be a detective this time around, complete with a captain who keeps riding him for not solving the case and a seemingly by-the-book partner in Detective Winterson. The stage is set for a classic cop movie. But this is Max Payne we're talking about, so of course things don't go as you would expect or even as you would hope. And of course, as with all noir detective stories, it begins with a woman. Max answers a distress call, which leads him to a warehouse filled with a group of killers called the Cleaners. While fighting his way out of the warehouse, Max runs into Mona Sachs, a highly effective assassin and the femme fatale of our story. These two characters end up in the middle of a conflict between Max's friend Vlad, the Cleaners, and the Inner Circle, the secret society Max met in the first game. In the midst of all of the bullets and chaos, love blossoms between our tragic hero Max and our mysterious anti-heroine, if that's a thing, Mona Sachs. This love story forms the core of Max Payne 2's narrative, and it works so well. Now, Mona was actually in the original Max Payne, but I didn't mention her because there really wasn't anything to mention. She appears a couple of times and then seemingly dies. You don't learn much about her, other than the fact that she has a twin sister who was killed off-screen. Honestly, the first game didn't do much with her character, but Mona almost manages to steal the show in the second game. To be clear, Max is absolutely the main character, and he is still amazing, but Mona is one of the most well-written and performed characters I have ever seen. She is the co-lead with Max, and the two characters play off of each other just beautifully. You know how it is. Detective meets girl, girl turns out to be a deadly assassin, but he looks past that and loves the girl anyway. Kid stuff, really. The first game's narrative was built around Max chasing different crime bosses in a repetitive but highly entertaining gameplay loop. Max Payne 2 has no such loop. Max and Mona move as a duo through a single, cohesive, and very powerfully told narrative with no artificial extensions of any kind. The game is actually only 6 to 8 hours long, much shorter than the original, but that doesn't matter because it's exactly as long as it needs to be, and the story is actually even more effective than the original. Though the ending is still quite short, it does not feel abrupt like all of the other Remedy games I have reviewed up to this point. I still wish there was more wrap-up, but the ending is much better than it was in the original Max Payne. That's right, I said it! Max Payne 2 has a better story than its predecessor. It also has a much better balance between the incredible graphic novel cutscenes, which look better than ever, and traditional in-game cutscenes. The character models and environments are also greatly improved. Like, I don't even know how they jumped so far ahead in only 2 years. Max's face is also a little more appropriate for his voice, even though I do miss Sam Lake's signature look. James McCaffrey continues to be amazing, of course. Also, the mysterious conflict of the game is built around a wonderful group of side characters and villains, making the cast much more lively than in the original. In addition, the twists are more organic this time around. The developing conflict between Vlad and Alfred Woden, the leader of the Inner Circle, contains genuinely shocking reveals that you will not see coming at all. But Max and Mona's love story is what will carry you through the game's dark narrative. The most amazing thing about Max and Mona's romance is that instead of making either character weaker or causing them to make foolish decisions, it actually helps them become better versions of themselves. Max learns to let go of his pain and hope for the future again. Mona learns that there is more to life than the next assignment and chooses Max over her employer. Truly, you see a light at the end of the tunnel for the first time. which makes the game's ending even more tragic. Unless you beat the game on the hardest difficulty and got the happy ending, in which case, bully for you. In summation, Max Payne 2 is an example of absolutely flawless storytelling. And if you manage to get through it without falling in love with the two lead characters and crying at the end, then you might just have no heart. Now, improving upon the original story and graphics is already an impressive feat. But what about the gameplay that made Max Payne so famous? Was there any way to improve upon that? Well, the answer is yes, but in small ways. Max Payne's third-person shooter bullet time gameplay was already pretty much perfect, but Max Payne 2 makes additions to the gameplay that I didn't even realize I wanted. The core of how Max plays is identical to the original, but now bullet time and shoot dodge are actually separated. You don't have to use up your bullet time meter to slow-mo dodge and shoot unless you want to by using the bullet time combo key. Also, Max can keep shooting even after he hits the ground, meaning there are no more frustrating deaths caused by Max taking forever to stand up. And if you use basic bullet time while walking and run out of ammo, Max will do an incredibly flashy and awesome fast reload that allows him to continue dodging even as he reloads his weapons. These small improvements make for a smoother, even more exciting gameplay experience. Also, the combat environments are much more open and vertical, giving you more options for how you tackle your opponents. And the icing on the cake, which is sort of underselling it because it's so awesome, in certain parts of the game you will get to flashback and play a sequence from Mona's perspective. Mona plays very similarly to Max, but she moves faster and her cartwheels are very impressive and graceful, I must admit. Getting her perspective on the story makes the narrative even more compelling and allows the love story between her and Max to naturally develop between both characters. Plus, she just looks awesome in bullet time. Truthfully, Mona deserves to go down in history as one of the greatest femme fatales of all time. There are actually a few more bonuses in Max Payne 2. For one, once you beat the game, you unlock Chapter Select, which allows you to go back and play any part of the game you want. A very useful feature for game capture, which I really appreciate. Also, there is a sort of arcade mode called Dead Man Walking, which challenges you to survive as long as you can in one of 5 maps. It's perfectly serviceable, but probably won't hold your attention for too long. Still, it is a nice addition to this already flawless gameplay experience. Now, this is a Max Payne game, so it's time to talk about the adult content. Max Payne 2 is kind of weird in this area, as it is both less M-rated than the original and more M-rated than the original. On the one hand, there were no scenes I had to skip this time around. There are 2 moments where Mona is in the shower, one real and one in a dream, but you can't see any nudity either time unless I somehow missed it, and if I did, I am okay with that. The first time is when you go to the weird theme park / funhouse place to find Mona, so you can still skip the cutscene if you wish. The second time is during a dream sequence that takes place after a particularly tragic event in the game that I won't spoil, but like I said, you can't really see anything. Also, there is one scene where Max and Mona begin kissing and almost get intimate. This takes place after Max escapes the police station during the cleaner's assault. Nudity is almost shown, but Max and Mona are interrupted by bad guys, so you don't quite see anything. On the other hand, there are many more F-words this time around, specifically from one character, Vinny Gognitti. He's a very fun character and a great addition to the cast, and he also happens to be voiced by Fred Berman, the voice of Barry Wheeler in Alan Wake. However, when Vinny first appears, and later when you have to protect him while he is in this funny costume, he uses the F-word quite a bit. Also, Vlad unfortunately uses the verb version of that word after the police station escape. Just a heads up if you feel the same way that I do and want to avoid these things. Once again though, this is all up to you. This is just me sharing my feelings on the game. So what's the verdict? If Max Payne 2 has a better story than the original and better gameplay, then that must mean, gasp, it is actually better than the first Max Payne. That's right, I think that Max Payne 2 surpasses its predecessor in every conceivable way. The story is even more emotionally engaging and well told, the characters add more to the narrative, and Max and Mona's love story is one for the ages. Plus, the new aspects of bullet time and the fun, if simple arcade mode add a great deal of gameplay variety. Honestly, I can't really think of a flaw with this game. It even manages to overcome the Remedy abrupt ending curse. Max Payne 2 is a masterpiece, and I think that is displayed by my giving it a score of 10 out of 10. Max Payne 2 may very well end up being one of my favorite games of all time. and I've already started on the harder difficulties in order to work my way towards the happy ending. Wish me luck! If you want to experience the greatest noir love story ever told, if you want to learn the truth behind the conflict between the inner circle and the cleaners, if you want to find hope for Max Payne in the midst of all his darkness, then don't miss out on Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. Alright, that was video review number 6, and I'm still here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you still don't understand the power of love, then you need to find yourself a girlmate. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming Masterful content. Speaking of Masterful content, I have a big announcement to make. I know I've been talking about maybe doing Until Dawn for Halloween and then moving on to Uncharted, and I still plan to do Uncharted, but the order of things may be changing because of something huge that just happened. By teaming up with my family, I have recently purchased an Xbox Series S. That's right, I have actually gone sort of next gen. You know what that means? I can actually play Quantum Break. In fact, I've already started playing it. This is a huge step forward for Masterful reviews. In addition to the inevitable Quantum Break review, you'll start seeing reviews for brand new releases, as well as classic games that I have never played before, like the Halo franchise. All of that and more is on the way, and I hope you will join me on this new adventure. Also, small side note, on Steam, I just grabbed both versions of Death Rally, Remedy's first game. If I can ever learn how to play that game properly, I will get that review done as well. Okay, that's all for now. God bless you guys, and I'll catchphrase you later. I guess I'm sticking with that for now. Bye!